Hi guys, today we're going to talk about how to mix colors and how to use the color wheel to help you out. So the color wheel is basically just a diagram used in art to tell you what colors mixed together make what colors. Okay, so I just want you to take a look and see how the color wheel is arranged. It's kind of like a rainbow wheel, and I'm going to show you how to read the color wheel. So your primary colors are the colors that you cannot create. You can only have the pigment itself and that's it. You can't mix any colors to create those colors. So your primary colors in art are yellow, blue, and red. Those might be some different colors that you've seen in other classes, like in science when it comes to light, it's a little bit different. But for our class, it's going to be yellow, blue, and red. So if you notice in the color wheel, there's 3 colors in between each primary color, so that's how you know where the primary colors are. Your secondary colors are the colors that are created by mixing 2 of the primary colors. So for example, if you're trying to make green, you'd see that green is between blue and yellow. So that's how you read the color wheel. Blue and yellow make green, yellow and red make orange, blue and red make violet. Okay, so there's always going to be a color in between and then the primary color. So it's secondary, primary colors. Your tertiary colors are the ones that are used mixing a primary with a secondary, and they're super easy because their name basically has the color that you need to mix. So for example, yellow-green means that you're mixing yellow and green, which green is yellow and blue. Blue-green, blue plus green, blue-violet, blue plus violet, red-violet, red plus violet, red-orange, red plus orange, yellow-orange, yellow plus orange. Okay, and those you can see that it's literally the colors next to them are the ones that you're mixing in order to create the ones there. So this is how you read the color wheel. This is very important because when we start mixing our colors, you're going to want to know what colors mixed together make what. That way you can literally only buy red, blue, and yellow, and you have already all the opportunity to create any color you want. So in the video, you're going to notice me talking about hue, tint, tone, and shade. Hue is basically just a fancy word to say color, and that is the color at its purest form. So if you're taking it out of the tube or straight from the watercolor, this is the color that is mainly there. Tint is when you add white, so if you notice it's more pastel-like colors. So when you add white to it, you create the tint of that hue. Shade is when you add black, so if you notice it's a lot darker, it doesn't mean that it's completely black, you're just making that color a little bit darker. That's shade. Tone is just adding gray, so this is more like your mid-tones between your lightest and your darkest. So we're going to actually practice mixing all the colors of tints, shades, and tones in the next video. So what you need is basically your primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, and you need some white and black. Gray is just white and black mixed together. Before we do that though, some of you are doing your mandala, and I wanted to go over color schemes real quick. There's basic color schemes that just make your eye flow with the colors. For example, there's the warm colors and cold colors. So if you look at the color wheel, the warm colors are anything from yellow to red-violet. It just kind of reminds you of warm climates, deserts, beach. If you go to the cool colors, it reminds you more of like winter or ice, and it is everything from purple to yellow-green. So just kind of keep that in mind. These are some color schemes that will help your mandala, or even if you're doing a painting. If you look at your painting and it's just not flowing, you might want to consider your color scheme. There is also the complementary color scheme. So anytime you do the opposite color together, if you just use those colors, they kind of help each other out. So for example, red and green, orange and blue, purple and yellow are the complements of each other. And if you put them next to each other and do a painting with just those two, it'll turn out a pretty aesthetically pleasing painting. There's also the split complementary. So split complementary, you're basically doing a triangle. So instead of going all the way across, you're using the ones in between. So for example, yellow is using the blue violet and the red violet instead of just using the violet. And there's many combinations that you can do, as you can see here. But these are basically the color schemes that you want to follow, okay? Analogous color scheme, what that is that you're just using the colors right next to each other. So you want to use the 3 colors right next to each other on the color wheel. You can mix and match it however you want, but it kind of gives you like the darkest, the highlight, and the midtone. Any way you put it, you're always going to have a darker color, a midtone color, and a bright color. And then the triad is just using either the primaries or just rotating. It's just the 3 opposing colors to create the triad scheme. All of these color schemes kind of create like a super pop look to your paintings, but it just makes it flow so much better with the eye. That way it's all aesthetically pleasing. Today we're going to learn about hue, tint, shade, and tone. Our hues are our natural colors, so we're going to start with red. You're going to put a little bit of red paint, just a little bit. We're going to wet our brush just a little bit in the water and make sure you get that excess water off. We're just going to paint our hue section with our natural color. For tint, we add white. So you're going to mix your hue with white, and that will give us our tint. Make sure for the white you add just a little bit of hue. You don't want to overpower the white. So the balance is a bigger section of white versus a little section of red. Make sure to clean that brush really well. We don't want to get any tint into our shade, since shade is black plus the hue. So make sure to really wipe that brush clean. Make sure that when you wipe it off, you can't even see the color that you were painting on before on your cloth. For shade, like I said, we're going to add black. So you're going to have your red hue with a little bit of black. Same thing, this is a little bit flipped. We're going to add a little bit of black to a lot of red because the black can easily overpower your color. And just a tiny bit of black. For tone, we're actually going to mix gray. So we had to create the gray first before we get the tone. So we're going to add equal parts of white and black. Once you have your gray, you're going to add a little bit of the red to it. And we're going to mix in our tones. You got your hue, tint, shade, and tone. We're going to repeat the same thing for all our colors. That was easy for a primary color. We're going to mix a secondary color. So for now, we're going to add a little bit of blue and a little bit of red. When you're trying to create violet, you have to make sure that you have more red than blue to get a nice violet color. Same thing, in order to create the red violet, you're just going to mix red with the violet, and we're going to keep doing the tint, shade, and tone for each one of these colors. We're now going to use our blue. And remember, your primary colors are probably the easiest ones because you just have to add either the white, the black, or the gray into your colors. Mixing two different colors of primary and secondary gives you those tertiary colors, and we gotta make sure that we mix them really well. And here we're creating our blue-violet. Now we're gonna mix a little green. I use two different types of blues just to make sure we get a nice rich green. So you can try and use those two, light blue and the true blue. We're going to do the same. We're going to do tint, shades, and tones. So tint, remember, is when you add white, shade is when you add black, and tone is when you add gray. Now we're going to combine the blue and the green to create a blue-green, or a green-blue, whichever way you want to use. I just wanted to show you one of the richer greens. If you have a preference to the greens, there's like a darker green and a green. So personally like both greens, so I wanted to experiment a little bit with the greens. We're working with our yellow, our primary color. Now we mix some good orange, just red and yellow. And here you want to add as little red as possible because again, the red can overpower the yellow. And there you have it, your hue, tint, and shade tone. This worksheet will be able to be used throughout your project.